Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, where our expert panel is going to talk about prospecting, selling, and so much more. My name is Eliana Raggio, and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by Dealeron. And for anyone who isn't familiar with Dealeron, well, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency, and we're best known for our search engine optimization, best-in-class customer service, and our award-winning websites. Earlier this year at NADA, Dealeron received the Best in Show Award for Website Design from Dealer Marketing Magazine. Dealeron was named the top-rated website provider by Driving Sales in 2012 and 2013, and Dealeron customers have been winners of the Digital Dealer Website Excellence Awards, highly coveted overall winner 4 times in a row. We're the only website company that can claim that. Dealeron is so committed to lead conversion, optimization, and customer service that we're the only company in the industry to offer a money-back lead guarantee program. So does your website company guarantee you leads? Well, then maybe you should check us out at Dealeron.com. And we have such a great show in store for you today. We are very pleased to have 2 powerhouse presenters today, Elise Kephart and Robert Wiesman. Elise Kephart is a sales and marketing phenomenon in the automotive business and is nationally recognized as the YouTube Diva. Since 2007, Elise has sold thousands of vehicles through personable and persuasive sales and marketing. Elise has presented at seminars nationwide, including the Spring 2012 Digital Dealer Conference in Orlando, where she's consistently wowed the audience by teaching how to create and edit quick and effective videos and deliver them to customers within minutes. Elise has been repeatedly praised by the likes of Digital Dealer Magazine, Jim Ziegler, and Grant Cardone for her creative marketing in the auto industry. She's even traveled across the country with Jim Ziegler, training internet departments. Elise is currently a top-performing salesperson at Sunset Honda, and she can be reached at elisekephart@yahoo.com. Joining Elise today, for the very first time ever, Robert Wiesman. He's the Director of Online Operations for Buchanan Auto Group, which operates a total of 7 locations through Maryland and Pennsylvania. Robert took the automotive industry by storm in August of 2010 and made 6 figures in his very first 12 months in the business. In December 2011, the Robert Wiesman brand was launched online and Your Hyundai Guy was born. Robert quickly gained national exposure and started helping other sales professionals across the country build their own personal brand. Robert has won several national contests for automotive professionals for his outside-the-box approach and strategies. Robert is a regular contributor to Auto Success magazine and an expert panelist at the Internet Sales 20 Group. Robert Wiesman is a dedicated and committed student of the automotive industry, and he can be reached at robertwiesman@gmail.com. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, don't worry. We're going to respond by email to you later today. Also, don't forget, a link to download a copy of the webinar recording is also going to be emailed to you later today for your reference, and please feel free to share it with friends and colleagues. And I also want to let you know that Dealeron is going to be at the upcoming AutoCon convention, September 4th, 5th, and 6th at the Aria Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, baby. We're going to be at booth 304, so please stop by, say hi. I'm going to be there, and it's going to be a great convention. And for more information or to buy tickets, go to autocon2013.com. And hey, while you're there, you got to check out the speaking session with the CEO of Dealeron, Ali Amirazvani. He's going to be talking about advanced SEO. And let me tell you, he packs the room every time he presents. It's well worth the visit. Thank you so much. And we've got great news for all you attendees out there today. Our good friend Robert Wiesman is going to be awarding a free private session to one of you lucky webinar attendees, where he's going to help you with your personal brand, what kind of videos you need, what direction for your personal website you should take, and so much more. So all you have to do is be the first one to write in the correct response in our quiz at the end of the show, and you'll be walking away with this amazing prize today. And if that wasn't enough, also at the conclusion of the webinar, you're going to receive a short survey. So fill it out, because we always want quality feedback from our audience. And today we're going to randomly select a couple of people from all the completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. Oh yeah, we're going to have some fun today. So let's get started. It's our expert panel, prospecting, selling, and so much more. Elise Kephart, how are you, my love? It's been a while since I've had you on my show.
It has been. I'm glad to be back.
I'm so happy you're here. So happy you're here.
Thanks for having me again.
Are you kidding? Anytime. I'd webinar with you anytime. And for the very first time ever on our Dealer on Webinar, and for the very first time presenting with Elise, we have Robert Wiesman. Now, Robert, you and I have known each other a while. It's so good to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
I swear Robert's going to
hear me? My audio, no, I'm like focusing on my audio right now. Like I was telling Elise before, I was nervous that it was coming in right. I'm moving around here. I'm in a different store like every day now, and I'm trying to get used to where all the best spots are for all the good internet. So I do apologize.
No, you're doing just fine. Now, audience, I want you to know we are recording this. So if you miss any part of this, don't worry, it's going to be recorded. We're going to send the link to you later today. But just so you know, for this webinar, Robert and Elise have become amazing representatives of the auto industry, especially salespeople. And what we found out is that Elise and Robert get contacted all the time by people just like you with all kinds of questions. So what we've done is we've asked Robert and Elise to give us their top questions that they receive all the time from good people just like you. And that's what we're going to go over with right now before we get to your questions live at the end of the presentation. So what we're going to do is, Elise, if you go to that next slide, we're going to start with the very first popular question that's always asked of Elise and Robert. And that first question comes to us from Andy. And Andy asks, what camera or software do you use to make your videos? So for this first question, I'm going to throw this over to Elise. Elise, do you have any advice for Andy?
Andy, yes, thanks for the question. That's a pretty popular question that I get. In fact, I think someone even, when we were checking in with everybody, asked kind of a similar
Jeremy did. Jeremy wanted to know the same thing. I told you we'd get to your question, Jeremy.
So I personally, I use a Nikon One digital camera. I've been using that probably for about a year and a half or so. But prior to that, I mean, you don't need to spend a lot of money. You don't need anything fancy. You can use your smartphone device in the video mode. In the previous, I've been doing these videos for a few years. I've used a Sony CyberShot camera, a Canon PowerShot. Most laptops come with a webcam now. You can even just use the webcam. So, there's not, me personally, I use the Nikon One. It's a little bit higher quality without spending spending the bank on like a digital SLR camera. But I use that, but you really, you're not exclusive to that. You can really use any of those devices. And then as far as editing, when I first started doing these videos a few years back, I used Windows Movie Maker. I was kind of a PC user, and then I've switched over to the Apple side of things. So probably for about the past year and a half, 2 years or so, I've been using iMovie. But either of those are compatible, and even YouTube has a basic editing tool now. Where you don't even have to really use software. You can just do it directly through YouTube. What about you, Robert?
Robert,
Well, I'm the same one. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
I'm nervous about this. I'm there. All right. So look,
his first webinar. You're so cute, Robert.
Anybody that knows me knows that I grew up as using Apple products, Mac products. My father was Apple Mac head, and basically I spent all the money. I've used the SLRs and all that stuff, the flip cam when that was out. I've tried every tool, you name it. But I am telling you, I think that the iPhone, with especially the newer ones, the 4S or the 5, or even go out and buy yourself just the new iPod Touch, the 5th generation, that'll give you more than enough quality, and it's so user-friendly. I think that's all you need. And plus, it's on you all the time. And as far as editing goes, I used iMovie for the longest, but I've recently switched over to a program called ScreenFlow for Mac, which is a knockout. It is $99. You buy it from the App Store, and it is phenomenal. It is easy to use, and it does way more than iMovie does.
$99. That sounds like a really good investment. Yep. So thank you so much for giving away all these secrets of yours. We really appreciate it. So this was great information. Let's go to the next question. Okay, this next question comes to us from Allison, and I'm sure a lot of you have the same question for Elise and Robert. So how long does it take to make a video greeting? Now, Elise, this is funny that Allison asked this because one of the webinars that Elise and I had done before is how to make a great branding video in 5 minutes or less. Right, Elise? Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That was a fantastic webinar. So Allison and anyone else out there who's curious about that webinar, it was an hour-long presentation. It was fantastic. She showed exactly how to do it. And you can find that on dealeron.com/webinars. And click on the link on the right-hand side for on-demand webinars. And just go down that list until you find Elise Kephart. And you are going to love it. It's how to make a great branding video in 5 minutes. So, Elise, how long does it take you to make a great video greeting?
And the hardest part about this question is really familiarizing yourself with, having an idea of what kind of videos you're going to do. For the videos that I do just for a general, for a customer, thanking them for their request, putting my face in front of their, in front of them, those only take 5 minutes because the total video is, we're going to get into this later, but the total video is maybe about 60 seconds long. So the hardest part is really, learning the how-tos and getting familiar with the editing software. But, it really takes no more than 5 minutes. Or you can just, you don't even have to really edit. I've done just direct iPhone to YouTube uploads, and those take literally, maybe 60 seconds by the time you shoot it and upload it to YouTube. Yep. So it's those are super quick. If you want to get a little bit more technique, a little bit more fancy in the editing, learn the software. It's pretty, all the software programs that Robert and I mentioned are really easy to use. And then it takes me 5 minutes. So I kind of have a whole process down, but it should take about 5 minutes once you learn the software. So.
And just so you know, Seth wrote in, he did see that webinar of yours, said it was great, and it got his whole BDC started on video. So congratulations, awesome. Seth. That was awesome. And
good job, Steph.
Agreed. And Robert, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, well, as far as time-wise, Elise is right. I mean, you can get these things done quick. Listen, don't trouble yourselves. If you're not using video right now, do not stress yourself about the perfection and worry about cutting and editing things and stuff like that. Just make it. Shoot yourself on your phone and just, don't worry about piecing it together. Just shoot a quick intro and email it over to them. There's a great tool out there now. It's called Walk Around Videos, and it comes on an app on your phone, and they'll set you up this cool custom template, and you can send the video within the email, so you don't have to link to YouTube or anything. It goes straight into their inbox. Boom, they pop it. They can watch the video right there. But don't worry and stress yourself about having to learn editing tools and software right now out of the gate. If you're not doing any video now, just start doing it, and then you'll evolve as you keep doing it. Your skills will get better, and you'll want to try new things.
I was going to say, even if you do a video that's not as great looking as something that Elise or Robert would make, even if you do a video that's, half as good, it's still 100 times better than what your competition is probably doing.
Most definitely.
Most definitely. So definitely go out there, give it a shot. You'd be surprised at the amazing feedback you're going to get from your prospects. So let's move on to the next question. Okay, this question comes to us from Joe. It's a great question, too. Joe said, well, how long should a video be? So, Robert, let's throw this one over to you. So should it be like 30 seconds or should it be 5 minutes? What's the optimal time?
I prefer the shorter the better. I mean, maybe like a 2 minutes, 2 to 3, 3 minutes. People's attention span is very short, so you just want to get to the point, get it across, give them the value, or introduce yourself, get to whatever it is you're wanting to accomplish, and then be done.
So what's the maximum amount of time?
I would definitely keep them. if you're going to 5 minutes, that's way too long.
Okay, so
you want to be in the three. You want to be, I would say, probably in the 2 to 4 minutes. What do you think, Elise?
I would say, there's a lot of different things you can do with video. For a video greeting, I cut it off at about 60 seconds. That includes probably about 15 seconds of testimonials. So the actual greeting itself is maybe about 45 seconds. So those you should be maxed out. I mean, if you've seen my videos, I have an introductory of myself and then testimonials at the end. It's capped out at about 60 seconds. If it's more of a informative video, like on the new Accord, or I'm going to be doing one here probably on the new Odyssey and the new Fit EV here pretty soon, that I can send to just customers interested in that car. Even those, like you said, we have a short attention span. They're going to be more informative because it's going to go over some of the features and benefits of some of the cars, but I would cap it off at 3 minutes even with that. Because walk-arounds, I mean, I've seen walk-arounds that are like 10 minutes, and it's like 10 minutes here. The whole purpose of video is you don't want to, you want to get the customer here in the store still, and you can do your longer walk around when they're here in the store, but a video of 10 minutes is I absolutely agree, it's way too long. So, and I kind of learned that, as over the course of the past 4 years that I've been doing these videos. There are some videos that I'd watch and I'm like, God, they're still up there, but it's like that video.
Oh, I know.
I'm
the same way, and that's what. So you're like me. Like I don't take any of the ones down that I know are mistakes and I know that are wrong and that are contradicting everything that I'll say today that you'll see on there. Really.
Oh yeah.
But that's the way. You only learn from doing. You'll go on there, and I have ridiculous ones where I turn the camera on and I say nothing, and I give you nothing. I mean, I'm saying things, but I'm giving you nothing, and it was just for me to grab attention and to just be out there, that was my strategy then, which can be good and can be bad, but like right now, if I could go back, I'm not saying I would do things differently, but I definitely did not do, all my videos aren't correct.
Yeah, I think both of us can agree. You fine-tune it, We started at one point, and then oh, I need to do this, or let me try this, or let me chop this out, and so you eventually just fine-tune your process, and that's what it comes, that's kind of what I've done over the course of a few years, and I want to continue to do that, I always want to be progressing. That's what everybody should strive for. So.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. That was a great question and a fantastic answer, and this picture is really starting to freak me out. So let's move on to the next question. Oh, look at that. All right, audience, we have a poll question for you. So if you've never been on our webinar before, well, sometimes we like to ask you the questions, and this is one of those times. So if you could, look at your computer screen and check out this question. We want to know, are you currently using video? And for this question, answer all that apply. So is it yes, just for sales, yes, for personal branding, yes, I use it for follow-up, yes, for marketing, or hey, you know what, nah, I'm not actually using video. We want to know what's going on in your world. Here's my question for Robert and Elise while these votes are coming in, because once we get a majority of the votes in, we'll close the poll and then we'll share all the results with you. But now, which one of you has been doing video longer? Is it Elise?
Yeah, she's been doing everything longer.
Yeah.
Okay, so what made you start using video? Did you see somebody else do it, or you just like, what, this is too much to write. If I do it in video, it'll be quicker.
No, well, a video has actually, I'm not going to give the link, but I actually have a personal YouTube site that I started probably when I was 20 years old, way before the car business. And so video for me has always kind of been a niche of mine. So when I got into the car business, I moved into the internet department. I mystery shopped. I hate mystery shops, by the way, but, getting in this business in the internet department, I mystery shopped some local competition and tried to see what they were doing. And then it was just like the same things, the same templates, the same emails. So I thought, well, what can I do to make this a little bit more creative, a little bit more different? And that's just kind of what, what came out of it. And so I started with, again, the long 10-minute, tutorials or walkarounds on this and that. And then eventually it became a thing where, like, instead of that, what if I sent a customer, a personal greeting? And then from there, it just kind of evolved. So,
and you have evolved.
So,
All right, well, I'll tell you what, let's get to these answers. We have almost everyone voting. Thank you so much for getting involved with our poll questions. We really appreciate it. So if you're ready, here are the answers. 52% of today's audience said, yeah, they use video for sales. 31% of today's audience said they use it for personal branding. Only 25% said that they use it for follow-up. 34% of today's audience said that they use it for marketing. And, you know, it's probably pretty good that this 42% of today's audience showed up today. They said that they're not using video right now. So they must be curious about what you two are doing. 42% said they weren't using video. And Scott also wrote in, he says his stores are not using much video at all. So this is a great webinar. Thank you so much for participating in our poll question. And we're going to get rolling on our next question. I hope you are all seeing the value of what video can bring to your salespeople. Next question comes to us from Mark. And he says, what else do I send or say to customers to engage them? So, Elise, I know we did a webinar on this as well. What do you send or say to customers to engage them when you're doing these video follow-ups?
well, these video follow-ups, it's part of, it's a small piece of a pretty precise process that I've learned. And again, the purpose of the video, it is to, you know, I use it obviously to brand myself in that way, but essentially what I do, let's say I come in at, you know, 8 o'clock in the morning, I start making calls at about 9. I get an internet lead. I'm going to call that internet lead first. I think the phone is, you know, ultimately you want to get the customer from the computer, from an email, you know, engage them in video, but you want to get them live on the phone because that is the most important tool other than the customer actually being here in the store. So I'm going to call them and I'll engage them with a, I mean, I get a voicemail usually a lot, and I'll engage them with a voicemail. And I'll say something along the lines of, hey, Robert, it's Elise over here at Sunset Honda. Just got your request, looks like for a brand new Honda Civic. I have some great news for you. If you can reach me back here, my number directly, and then I'll state my number. It's about 9 a.m. here on Thursday morning. I'm going to be in the office until about 6 this evening, and if I don't hear from you this morning, I will follow up with you here a little later today. So that's going to be my first call. We have a pretty a good CRM program here, so you're able to set yourself phone reminders. So I'll set myself a phone reminder to call that customer again at 11 a.m. I'm going to shoot them a text message as well. I know there's different things of our CRM system actually, when we can text from our CRM, it allows us to ask permission to the customer first before the text goes through. And most customers opt in for texting. So I'll shoot them a text. I'll send them a video email. I'll handwrite them a postcard as well through a website that I use. And then I'm going to call them again at 11 a.m. from my cell phone, not from my office line that I called originally. If I get their voice message, I don't leave a voicemail. You know, ultimately what it is I call them, I send them videos, I send them a postcard, I send them a text. I want that customer to call me on the phone. I want to get them on the phone. Because then once you get them on the phone, if you have the right things to say, you can set that appointment so easily. And at that point, they've already seen I just got a customer yesterday that said, hey, you know, I got your video and I actually do wine sales, and I should start doing that for wine sales. That was really cool. So, you know, you ultimately, you don't want to sell everything through video. You want to use that video to engage the customer. You want to get them on the phone, to set the appointment, to get them into the store, and ultimately make the sale. So. As I know a lot of people think that I sell a lot through video, but I really just try and sell myself through video and then use that to get them into the store so that, you know, so that the store can sell them a car. So that's kind of my process that I use, and it works really well for me. It just takes a lot of keeping everything very organized, and that's the great use if you have a good CRM tool that'll allow you to keep everything intact. This is a postcard, kind of a postcard that I use, and I do it online. Basically what it is it's just, you know, selling myself again, and then also, you know, handwriting them a, hey, you know, thank you for letting me help you, or whatever it is, and then it goes out that same day, and they'll get it, you know, within a couple days. Because a lot of customers, as much as I would like to say, you know, call me back immediately. Sometimes it takes a couple days of calling them over and over, then getting your postcard, then getting everything possible with your face and your name on it to get them to call you back. So
So just so we're sure, you call your lead at 9 a.m. And if you don't reach them, you call them again at 11. And if you don't reach them, you call them again at 2.
Yes.
And if you don't reach them, you call them again at 4.
Yes, and at 4, I only leave a voicemail twice, though. I leave one in the morning, and then I call from my cell phone at 11 and 2. I don't leave a voicemail 4 times a day. I just hang up so that they have a missed call on their line. And then at 4 p.m., I'll call them again. If I get their voicemail again, then I'm going to say, hey, hey, Robert, it's Elise again over here at Sunset Honda. I've been trying to reach you today. I have some great news for you in regards to that Civic. It's about 4 o'clock here. Thursday afternoon, as mentioned. I'm going to be here until about 6 o'clock or so this evening. You could reach out to me. My number is, state your number. And if I don't hear from you this evening, I'll follow up with you first thing in the morning. So you're setting that expectation for the customer that they need to call you back or I'm going to keep calling you. And, and that's the way to get, if you just call them once a day and say, hey, call me if you have any questions, look forward to helping you buy, that's why you're not getting any calls back. You need to get the customer on the phone and set the expectation that if you don't hear from them or if they don't, if they don't call you back, you're going to call them back. So.
Yep. You got to let them know that you're failing. You guys, everybody, you are failing these customers that take the time to put their name and information on the internet for interest in a vehicle, and you're not bothering them. You are letting them down if you do not call them constantly and get them on the phone. I still have harassment charges pending from some of my follow-up that I used to do out there, so it's, you need to get on a schedule like Elise's right there, 3 to 4 times a day. Don't be scared to use *67 to get there. And another way to engage, guys, listen, we all talk about Facebook and social media. Okay, well, I was a big example of using social media wrong with posting stuff about cars and like, hey, here's a deal on this, or hey, come down and see me here. I mean, that's not, I don't think that's what the tool is really for. I mean, it's not going to be effective for you doing that. Man, take that person's name or their email, copy it and paste it in the search in the Facebook, find them on there, engage with them there, or at the very least, stalk their page, gain some intel on them, and then send them, then there you can get on their level. You can engage with them on a common ground because you can get a little bit of knowledge on who they are, send them a link to an article of something that they show that they're interested in, or something like that, that's to get them to open that email or to answer that call or to call you back.
This is awesome information. It's so funny. Neil wrote in, do you ever get complaints for the amount of calls that you make? And I can't believe, Robert, you do actually get complaints?
You can't get enough complaints. You want to get a pat on the back from your manager, get a call, get a complaint.
Yeah, I've gotten a couple, but it's not, we don't, I mean, that's our job. But ultimately, out of the hundreds and thousands of calls that I made, I've only gotten probably a couple. And more importantly, I get the call, well, what's the great news? It's such a cheese line to say, but it's like, well, what's the great news? And,
And tell them, and let them know that you're not going to stop calling them. Sir, I refuse to give up on you. Tell them, sir, I refuse to give up on you. I am one step away. I'm one step away from painting my face and putting a branch on my head and being in the bushes out front of your house. That's how, let them know. Next step is I show up on your doorstep.
Oh, man.
Well, Neil wrote back in. He said, we get complaints every now and then, but that's why you guys are successful. Thank you so much for the comment, Neil. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. This is very entertaining. Let's go to the next question, see what else you guys get asked about all the time. At least one more. There we go. Okay, so this question is a really good question that came to us from Carrie. She says, what should I do if I don't have a phone number for a customer? Robert, what do you do when you get a lead but there's no phone number? I know you just alluded to the whole Facebook thing.
Yeah, I will definitely do that. That's a way to get them. I'll do the lookups. I'll copy and paste them into white pages and phone books and things like that. And I'll just beat them down on the email tip, as well as again using the social networks and whatnot to to, engage with them one way or another. I mean, that's going to happen because people always think, and Elise, correct me if I'm wrong, people are quick to think that if there's no phone number there that it's a bad lead or something. I completely disagree, because I'll tell you what, I'm not going to put my phone number on there if I'm, if I'm shopping. I'll give you my email, but I'm not putting my phone number on there, and I'm a consumer. So, that you can't let that, turn you off. That lead's just as good, as any other lead that you have. That's a buyer right there, and you just have to get creative with your ways of, using the tools that you do have to get in touch with them. Or put their name in the white page, copy and paste, put them in the white pages. Go on Facebook, try to find them. Just don't quit on them, because you're letting them down.
Yeah, these customers are always like, I mean, you should look at it as a challenge, because majority of other internet people out there are going to look at this lead and be like, oh, this customer's they're not interested in a car because I can't call them. That's a challenge to you. You need to create enough value to that customer for them to trust you enough and like you enough to talk on the phone. So however that may be, I mean, I'll do a lot of the same thing Robert does. Robert uses, I'll use white pages. I'll find them on white pages. I'll send them a personal, postcard. I'll send them an email, a video greeting, And sometimes they just, with these customers, they just don't want to be bombarded with a salesperson. So you just have to, again, think creatively outside of the box on how you can engage this customer to see you as a person versus, just a typical salesperson. Because we don't have, salespeople in the car business. Our reputation, we're right up there with politicians and lawyers. We don't, a lot of people don't like us from the very beginning. So you just need to get them to like you and trust you. And
but you guys are so likable.
Right? Yeah. So that's what I'll do, because I know this is a common thing. And a lot of times, too, they might, when you call the number and it's, this number's been disconnected, sometimes that's just a typo from the customer. They put in 5.
You guys are there. I'm sorry, my screen blacked out on me, man. I went into panic mode a second.
Yeah. Sometimes it's, sometimes it's a typo from them. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it is. And, I mean, I go with this strategy, guys. Well, first off, I've had my share of punches in the face in my life, but I've never been punched in the face through the phone. So, just, nobody's going to hurt you. And second, you want to go with the mentality, and at least correct me if I'm wrong, I use the email is to set up a phone call, which then the phone call is to set up an appointment, and the appointment is then to sell the car.
Yes. Yep.
Each step is another close that you have to do. So you really have to be a serious closer, because you got to close them on the phone call. Then you got to close them on coming into the store. Then you have to close them on the car, or on whatever unit or whatever it is you're selling, if you are taking them from the cradle to the grave.
Right. Right.
Wow. So you really have to finesse somebody who leaves an internet lead, as opposed to somebody who just happens to walk into the dealership.
Right, right.
Definitely a skill set that not a lot of people have. Well, thank you so much. This has been great. And now I just want you two to know, Elise and Robert, that we're only halfway through our presentation, and we have some amazing questions from our live audience, which, by the way, we have a lot of people on today's webinar. So thank you so much for showing up. And yeah, we have another poll question for you, audience. So here we go. If you could, look at your screen and answer this question. How would you rate your current personal branding strategy? And for this, just select one of the following answers. Are you a rock star? Or are you doing okay, but hey, you could use some improvement? Are you just getting the ball rolling? You just started on this thing and you're looking to see which way to go? Or maybe you started, but you have no idea what you're doing. Or personal branding? What is that? Whatever your answer is, well, we're
I can't vote.
No, you can't vote.
If Tracy Myers is still on, he can check off the rock star one.
Tracy, if you're on, you know what? Somebody did vote that they're a rock star.
Tracy.
Tracy Myers might have been the only one who voted that they're a rock star. Okay, so once we get a majority of the votes.
And Jeremy Brown, he does a good job too.
Oh, you're telling who's allowed? Well, just so you know, Diane, very smart lady, she said, isn't that why we're attending? We want to learn the secrets of being a rock star. That's right, Diane. That's why you're here, baby. And just so you know, Jeremy Brown did write in, and he says, thanks, Robert. Woohoo, I'm honored. Jeremy, there you go. All right, so I'll tell you what. We're going to close this poll and share the results, and I think you're going to be very interested to see 2% of today's audience said that they are rock star status. There you go.
Nice.
39% said that they're doing okay, but they could use improvement. 35% says they're just getting the ball rolling. 15% said that they admit they have no idea what they're doing. And 10% said, what are you talking about? Personal branding, huh? Guess what? We're going to get started right now on what personal branding is all about. How about that next slide? So the question comes to us from Michael. And Michael says, what is the first step in building my personal brand? Now, just in case you were curious, audience, Elise is the YouTube diva. Robert, he's got two brandings. He was the original Hyundai guy, and now he is the showroom executive. So, Robert, what was your first step when you were building your personal brand?
Well, first off, understanding what that is and what a personal brand stands for, and what it is definitely up there in the first step. Researching it and just finding out. I mean, what it is that your brand is going to stand for. When people see this brand, that they can, know consistently that they're going to receive the same service, the same product, on a consistent level, and what you stand for, day in and day out is what you're going to deliver, basically. What's going to separate you from the pack, why they should choose you, why they should, choose you to spend their money with, because they know that what they're going to get day in and day out from you. You need to figure that out. Your mission statement, what it is you want to do, what you want to accomplish. What are you going to give to that person that nobody else is going to?
So your first step is just figuring out what branding you want to put out there.
Yeah, what do you want your brand to stand for? What are they going to know when they see that? What do they know that they're going to get? What are you going to deliver to them?
Gotcha. Elise, do you have anything to add to that?
We have the expert. You have the best in the business on the call right now with us. I learned a lot from, but that's my opinion in the matter.
Elise, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, he's right on track there. With when I've been selling Hondas for a while, and with selling Hondas, Honda has its own brand already. You think Honda, you just instinctively think of certain things. You think reliability. You know what the Honda Civic is. You know what the Honda Accord is. Just instinctively. So, in me creating a personal brand for myself, I want to kind of, brand myself in the sense that when you think Elise Kephart or you think the YouTube diva, what do you think of? So Robert's right on board. You need to figure out, what when you're selling cars or when you're in this business, you need to preach to customers or potential customers, how you're different from, any other salesperson in the store or any other salesperson, in the area, outside of the area. You want them to be not just sold on your product, but you need to sell yourself, and that, sell yourself so good that when you think, oh, I need to buy a car, or I need to refinance my car, or I have a friend that wants to buy a car, even if it's not a Honda, I'm going to send them to Elise, or send them to yourself. You want to brand yourself so that everybody that you know, and your whole network knows what you do and why you do it, and yeah.
Okay, so now I know. I need to start branding myself as the webinar goddess. Thank you, both of you.
There you go. Boom.
Boom. All right, well, we have so many great questions coming from the audience, so we want to get through these regular questions that you guys always seem to get so that we can get to those from our live audience as well. So I love Charlie Bit My Finger videos. So this question comes to us from Steve, and he asks, what kind of videos should I make for my YouTube channel? Elise, you're the YouTube diva. What are we doing here? What kind of videos should I have on my YouTube channel?
You can do so much with YouTube, and I haven't even exercised all of the things that but you can do, of course you can do the personal video greetings. You can also do, informational videos on the new car product, on certain used car products. You can do informative videos like on how to pair your Bluetooth, or, how to use your navigation, something of that nature, because a lot of times, customers, there's so much technology in cars, they'll call me up all the time and say, like, oh, I got a new phone, how do I pair it up again? So you can do things like that with video. I do funny stuff. I do little things where I'll kind of, for entertainment purposes only, I'll take clips of like Justin Timberlake or whatever it is, kind of making it seem like he's talking about me. So I'll do kind of humorous stuff on YouTube as well. Again, trying to brand myself and make myself look good. But those are the main things that I use it for. Personal testimonials, personal video greetings, informational videos, how-tos on things like pairing your phone or using your navigation or things like that.
And Robert, what do you do? What do you put on your YouTube channel?
She has, she's right on there. I think that what you need to do is there's a, you have the main video, the way the new YouTube is set up. So you'll have that main video at the top. That should be, what your channel is for, what are you doing, selling, what is your brand, who are you? So you're going to have a video on who you are, why they should choose you to do business. You can use, success stories, testimonials, also like little skits and funny things, of course, and then that, definitely more, content of value like how-tos and tips and tricks and things like that.
How to what? Like how to winterize your car? How to change oil?
How to pair your phone with Bluetooth? How to get the best deal on a car? Branding yourself as the celebrity expert in your marketplace. That's something I've learned from Tracy Myers, and that is that's one way to do that. You're going over there, you're giving them information that they can take and implement it into whatever they're doing and see results.
Excellent. Okay, let's move on to our next question. And just so you know, audience, I foresee this going over the 1 hour time slot that we have reserved. We have so many amazing questions from you, our valued audience today. We're going to try and get to as many of them as we can. As long as Elise and Robert are willing to hang in there with us, we're going to try and get to all of your questions. I'm just brilliant for putting you two on a webinar together, because let me tell you, you are sparking some amazing feedback from our audience. This next question comes to us from Kevin. He says, what should I have on my personal website? Robert, I love your personal website. What should we tell Kevin to do on his personal website?
All right, Kevin. If you ask me, I think it's actually pretty simple. Who you are, what you do, where you do it, why they should choose to do that with you, success stories and testimonials, back to just like your YouTube channel basically, but except your YouTube is solely video. And then just I definitely think for search purposes and SEO purposes, you want to have a blog on there that again is delivering valuable content that they can use, and it can help improve their situation, solve a problem, things like that.
On your blog, Robert, are you blogging or are you reposting stuff that you found on the internet?
I do both. Just like most bloggers do.
Okay.
I have definitely my user-generated content, and then if I see something that I like, that I like and that I want my readers that I think that they should check out, absolutely, I'll post it over there. But I'm in a whole new direction with my website now, since I'm not in the, frontline retail, so to speak, anymore. I'm, changing my direction to provide, it'll be all of the same stuff here, but it's going to be, instead of targeted for me to sell more cars and to educate consumers, it's going to be to help you sell more cars and help educate salespeople.
Excellent. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Or maybe not.
Oh, it's shown on my end.
Oh, okay, there it is.
Oh.
Okay, this is a fabulous question from Mark, and I love this picture because sometimes I feel like that's exactly how there's so much stuff out there, but we really just want to go to the best, the stuff that's going to, the training materials that's going to give us exactly what we need for exactly that moment. So Mark's question is, what training materials or books do you recommend to automotive sales professionals? Basically, what helped you? So, Robert, I know you are totally into training materials. I remember that's how I met you, I think, was over training materials. So what kind of advice do you have for Mark and all the good people that are here on this broadcast today? Oh, Tracy Myers.
Well, there it is. That's one of my favorites right there. Tracy sent me that book, man, and I love it. That's a great one. And this is, we basically just list a lot of books, things that are easy and inexpensive to pick up. I mean, I have, with no exaggeration, in 3 years in this industry, spent over $15,000 on my education. Just, not just automotive stuff too. You got to think, you got to, look to outside of automotive to help, expand your horizons. But Tracy Myers' book, You Are the Brand Stupid, is life-changing. I love it.
I love it.
Yeah,
okay, just so everyone knows, Tracy Myers has graced us with his presence today. He's actually here on the show as an attendee supporting Elise and Robert today. But I also want you to know, put this on your calendar. September 5th, Thursday, September 5th, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Tracy Myers is doing a Dealer On webinar with us. And it is going to be based on this book, You Are the Brand Stupid. So, I don't mean to call you stupid, but you know what I mean. But we're going to have a webinar about this book and about the teachings that he has in this book. So you definitely do not want to miss that. September 5th, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Thank you so much. What's next, Robert?
Another person that I'm a huge fan of is Gary Vaynerchuk. He has a couple books out. Now, he's not automotive, and we missed a Y in his name there.
Oh.
Did I send it to you misspelled? I hope not. Anyway, but that's V-A-Y. It's and it's E-U. There's no C before the K at the end. But he's definitely sales related, and but not automotive, but marketing and like social media wise. This guy is brilliant. He's, younger guy. He's my, year or two older than me, and just so much energy and amazing stuff. You can search his name properly spelled on YouTube and such, and his website. He's got videos for days, and it's guarantee you're going to pull some nuggets out of there that you can put into action.
Oh, and just so you know, Kelly wrote in, she said she loves Gary's audio book, and she swears it's even better than the actual book. She says you should get Gary's audio book too. Oh, yeah. So thank you so much for that, Kelly.
I do audio. If I can do audio, I take audio all day long. As per Gary's stuff, I don't own the actual books. I have the downloads. Guys, you can download it on iTunes. They're like $9.99. He's got this one, The Thank You Economy, and he's got another one called Crush It. Both of them are home runs, and he's entertaining too. Like he read the book, and he brings a lot of energy and not boring by any means. Definitely recommend him. And this is my man and one of my favorites, who I own the entire library of Grant Cardone's material. But I think if I had to recommend one piece from his arsenal, and this would be the audio preferably, is the Closer Survival Guide, where he gives you 100+ closes, basically preparing you for any type of, situation that could arise when you come in contact with a prospect. He prepares you for every objection and everything right there, so you don't have to get up and go to your manager or, give away all the money and do the, okay, if I could, where do I need to be to earn your business today? That type of stuff, weak stuff. This right here will turn you into a assassin, without a doubt.
So this is one of my picks. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. No. This one is great. I thought this was mine too because I love Joe Girard's stuff, man. This is great.
Yeah. This was one of the first books I picked up actually when I got in the car business. Started working at a Ford store, and this I really like because Joe Girard, world's greatest salesman, sold cars way before CRM and way before Facebook and YouTube and social media, and it just kind of goes back to the basics of prospecting yourself, following up with customers. He goes into a pretty big chapter about, he would send a handwritten card to every one of his customers, even if they didn't buy a car, and then he would continue to do that when they did buy a car. And so there's just a lot of good, tips in here that I got, that were before, even a lot of the tools that we have now, like fancy CRM programs and social media and YouTube and everything like that. So this is one of my books that I read, really easy read, and it just kind of goes back to the very basics of this business. And, he was really successful in selling cars. So I got a lot from this book. This one right here, this one's super, a lot of the same stuff that we've been going over with some of the word tracks and everything. I've only spoken a small portion of it. This, Jerry Tebow, I was a trainer for Phone Ninjas for a while, and this is it's just a training manual, but it goes through a lot of good things to say on the phone and helping you set more appointments. Because a lot of salespeople, I think, think they know what they're saying, but it's just they say too much over the phone sometimes. So this really just narrows down some really good word tracks when you're taking phone ups, when you're making outbound calls, when you're prospecting, when you're following up with customers. Kind of goes through the whole thing. So
that's great. I have that one too. I ordered that. You guys, you can order it on is it phoneninjas.com?
Phoneninjas.com. It's like $20 or something.
Yeah, it's strong, guys. Listen, this stuff, like materials like this, like the Phone Ninjas and the Closer Survival Guide, like Tracy's book is knockout, but that's more like for strategy, and to implement, processes and a strategy. Phone Ninjas and the Closer Survival Guide, like Grant Cardone, that stuff right there is preparing you for situations. Like if you can get prepared, we know, in 30 days in this business, what objections and what people are going to say to you when you walk up to them, if you call them, when you come in contact with them in any way. This stuff, these materials here, they're going to prepare you for all of those situations, so you know exactly what to say, when to say.
Yeah, it's almost like you have a belt buckle of just the response that you need to say, just automatically.
Your utility belt, like Batman.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I just want you to know I have mad love for Jerry Tebow. I think he is fabulous. He's a great presenter, and he really knows his stuff. And another date to put on your calendar, I got Jerry Tebow in the house doing another Dealer on webinar on September 26th. Have no idea what he's going to talk about yet, but once I find out, I will let you know. But you shouldn't miss it anyway because he always has good stuff.
Probably something to do with the phone.
I'm going to guess.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen a presentation of his, he throws out $100 bills now.
What? I gotta go see that.
Audience, so.
I love it. He gives me $1,000. He gives me $1,000 cash on my webinars. So
I won $1,000 cash from him.
That's true. You did.
Remember, Elise?
Yeah,
Elise, you remember that?
Yeah, I remember. This one right here, the 10X rule. The title kind of just says it out. And this isn't like a manual where it's like this is what you need to say. This is a state of mind. Right. Yes. You can use it for every aspect of your life too, not just car sales, not just work, but you can use it for everything in your life. So This is a really good read too. Definitely pick it up. And Robert, I know you have the whole library, so you have. Agreed. This you can use just for every aspect of your life.
It's not just for sales.
Right.
Right.
No, and this one, the audio is available on iTunes for download too, and it's not expensive at all. And it is like and Grant actually reads it. The presenter. You don't have just some Joe Smo that's reading. I hate when they don't have the author read. You know what I mean? And he delivers on it. And listen, I'm pretty sure everybody on the call is familiar with Grant, and he's entertaining, and he'll fire you up. And this right here, this I can't tell you how many times I've listened to this.
Well, I will tell you, again, love Grant Cardone. We had the pleasure of having Grant Cardone do a live broadcast. It was a live webinar actually at Digital Dealer, right, at the last Digital Dealer, and we had it recorded, and you can find that on dealeron.com/webinar, and then you go and you click on the link for on-demand webinars, and you'll find he actually did a whole webinar just on the 10X rule, and it was fantastic. Wonderful live presentation video of him actually standing there and giving a live presentation. And you know what? I am going to have Grant Cardone do another webinar coming up. I don't know the exact date, but it might very well be another Digital Dealer Convention. I don't know. We got to see. But keep in touch with us about that. We're going to have another Grant Cardone webinar coming up, and he's always electrifying to watch. Okay. We're moving on with these questions. Next question comes to us from Jim. So how do you prospect for new customers? I love the picture. Elise, how do you prospect for new customers?
Well, that picture, I didn't put that picture there, but that's like a perfect picture because it's just most salespeople hate the phone. That's why dealerships have it set up now with BDC and salespeople. It's like it's separate. BDCs are supposed to make all the calls. You can't fear the phone. You got to pick up the phone, and then when you and again, these word tracks are in that Phone Ninjas training manual. But when even if you don't sell a customer a car, prospect their household. How many cars do you have in your household? When are you going to be replacing the next one? Or get referrals. Don't just ask for referrals, but when you sell a car, get referrals from that customer that you sold the car to. Basically, essentially, what it is, this is something that I learned is, this is a depressing topic, but if you were to have if you were to die, and who would show up to your funeral, and of those people that showed up to your funeral, would they know what you do for a living? And that's what you want to do. You want to again, brand yourself and let everybody know that you do, but everybody that you sell a car to or don't sell a car to, don't just give up on them. Don't just mark them lost. Call them up and see who else in their family or their. That's happened to me plenty of times. I might not have been able to make a sale with one customer, but they still come back to me for their daughter or for their son or for their uncle or whatever it is. And then another tactic too, gas stations. If you're at a gas station and you're filling up your car, talk to the person next to you and say, oh, and let them know what you do, at the gas station. Or if you go get coffee every day, let them know that anywhere you go for your local errands, let them know what you do for a living. And so, keep it in the community.
Thank you, Elise. Robert, how do you prospect for new customers?
Well, a lot of the same ways that Elise just said, but most importantly is you just ask. Ask anybody that you come in contact with. Make sure that everybody knows who you are, what you do, and where you do it at. And through, your existing database of people that have already danced with you, they're already loving you. They're going to send you customers. You just have to ask, and just, continuously ask. And there's the proper word tracks out there to ask in an effective way. And, whether or not they don't have to be right now. Listen, a lot of salespeople are in that right now mentality because most of their managers are in the right now, have the right now mentality. And just, even if somebody's like, when you say that, who's next in the household? And, Jim, when do you think, and it's even 6 months out, Okay, great. You got a lead for 4 to 6 months down the road. So you can mark yourself a reminder, schedule yourself a phone call, or send them a mail. Just stay in front of everybody. Let everybody know who you are, what you do, and where you do it.
Yeah, straight up. Boom.
All right, well, there you go. Jim, I hope that helps you out, and as well as everyone else. Okay, what's the next question? Oh, great question, Nikki. How do you handle a customer who only cares about price? Robert, how do you handle a customer who only cares about price? Are people still out there who do that?
Yep, and I agree. Agree with them. Let them know that price is important, and then rest assured that, sir, ma'am, you seem very intelligent, and you've obviously have done your research. If I am unable to provide you figures on the right vehicle for the right money, I would not expect you to buy it. Okay, that's it. Just rest assured them if the price is not right, you would not expect them to buy it.
Now, ironically, Elise, since you used to be a previous phone ninja trainer, is there a certain word track that you use? Do you try like 3 or 4 different things before you finally give up?
You get to the point where you got to give them something, yes,
right.
But you try not to.
Right. Well, it comes, a lot of the price is, I think, our mentality as salespeople or in this business. I've mystery shopped other dealers before, and it's like the first thing that they shoot out is a price, and then all the reasons why they should buy from that dealership. And so I think a huge part of it is our mentality that if you're an internet shopper, all you care about is price. So, you as a salesperson, you just kind of need to get that out of your mentality. A lot of majority of internet customers that I have don't care about price first. They still want information, they still want to test drive the car and all that, things of that nature. But you do have a small percentage of people that do only care about price, or they state that over and over. So if it's a phone conversation, I'd say something very similar to what Robert would say, which is like, hey, you know what? I understand that price is important, and I wouldn't expect you to buy a car if I couldn't get it, within your budget, or if we couldn't make the money transactions work. And then there's a couple things that you can say. Now, if it's a used car, I'll say something that, as you know, Mr. Customer, with the internet, 80% of customers go online and look at pre-owned inventory. And we actually have a pricing tool here at the store that allows us to search within a 300-mile radius of other vehicles like this pre-owned one that you're looking at. So that way we can make sure that from the beginning our online pricing stays competitive with the market. And then you want to sell, if it's a used car, we all know, you would say something of, as you may know, not every used car is the same. One of them could maybe have a funny smell that you can't see from the pictures. It might have a ding that just wasn't photographed right. But let me tell you about this 07 certified CRV that we have here. It's really nice, and you owe it to yourself to come down and at least look at it before you buy anything else, because I can guarantee you that if you buy anything else before looking at the CRV, you'll be doing yourself a disservice. And not only would you have overpaid, but you wouldn't have received the excellent service that I give to all my customers. And then, so that's one of them. The other one is...
I can tell you've done this before, Elise.
The other one is, if it's a new car, they offer you a price. Say, Mr. Customer, I understand price is important, and I ultimately am not the one that is in charge of the final pricing. So I can get off the phone with you, go ask my boss what a price is on this new car for you. And he'll tell me a price, and the price that I tell you over the phone, he's not going to change it when you get here. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I can give you a price over the phone, as mentioned, and my boss wouldn't change that. But when you're here in the store, usually my manager gives better deals. The reason for that is because maybe it's a slow day and he just wants to get an extra deal on the books. Maybe it's a really busy day and he wants to sell as many cars as possible. Your presence is your leverage. That being said, are you available right now or later today to visit with me? So, sometimes that works. But your presence is your leverage. You can just use that one too. I use that all the time because that's absolutely true. So those are some of the word tactics. And then if it's via email, I'll I'll say, similar stuff just in an email or a video greeting. Your presence is your leverage. We have a pricing tool on used cars. You owe it to yourself to at least look at this before you buy anywhere else. Otherwise, you'll be doing yourself a disservice. So those are some of the things that I use to handle price. And it's a very small percentage of customers that really grind you on price. Most of them I can just get an appointment to, test drive the car and things of that nature and go from there. So.
Yep. Options to help if you really do got to get down to giving out pricing. You give them pricing on the fully loaded. If they're on the loaded up, give them the price on the stripped down version, as well as a certified pre-owned and a pre-owned option as well. You give them a list of give them 3 different prices, because 80% of the people are on the wrong. They're not on the vehicle they're going to buy anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Wow, that is great information. Okay, I believe now that was the last of our more popular questions. Now we have the takeaways. So, Robert, Elise?
So the takeaways from this, my 2 that I put are videos, whether it's edited, whether it's not edited, videos just naturally create personalization for your clients, and that's going to be such a huge tool for everybody listening in today. So optimize the videos in your process. And then second takeaway is, don't spin your wheels, just doing video. You still want to do your process, because ultimately you want to take that internet. You have to say, how can I take this internet customer from sitting in their chair or on their iPad on the computer to the phone, to get them from the phone to an appointment in the store, and then to a sale. So like Robert said, each and every one of those is a step that you just have to master. Because honestly, this sounds probably weird, but I hate email, because you can spend so much time writing emails and video messages and all this stuff. If I can just get them on the phone, it's so much easier for me to get them into the store, like when I'm live with them on the phone. So I use the tools through email, through video messaging, and things of that nature to get them on the phone. And then from the phone, it's easier for me to get them into the store.
Yep. Very good. Very good. And I want to make sure you take away, build and market this brand that's called you. And helping you doing that is going to be my next one, is never stop training and educating yourself. Every day, learn something new, or brush up on those things that you already know and that you're using on a regular basis. Don't get sloppy. No matter how long you've been in the game, keep at it. I mean, look, Derek Jeter and all the pros still hit the batting cage on a regular basis. We got to do the same thing.
Excellent. I got to say, I don't know, it was like inspiration that you 2 came together to do this webinar today. We are getting some amazing feedback on this webinar. For instance, Nikki wrote in, this hands down is the best webinar I have ever seen, and I've done a lot of these. And she was already a fan of Elise's, and she says, and Robert, you gained a new fan. Mark wrote in, thank you, Elise and Robert, for your time today. Neil says, he's got to move some metal peeps. You've been an inspiration. Both of you are true inspirations. Great job. Great webinar. So we're going to get going. We still have a lot more stuff to do. Prince wrote in, great job, Elise and Robert, as well. We have some great, great, great questions from the audience. We definitely have to do that. Before we get to that, it's that time. If you missed it at the beginning of the webinar, I announced that our good friend Robert Wiesman has offered to award a free private sales training session and branding session to one of you lucky webinar attendees. So all you have to do is be the first one to write in the correct response with our quiz.
Play the Jeopardy music?
I wish I had Jeopardy music. I keep asking for it. Go to the next slide, Elise, if you could. Yes. So he's going to get in touch with you. If you win this, you're going to learn how to personal branding strategy, things you should build on your personal website, all kinds of great, great stuff. A lot more than what you saw today. So here's the question. Saunter up to your keyboard. Usually it's the fastest typer who wins this. If you're the first one to write in the response, you're going to be walking away with this awesome prize today. Good luck, everyone. Here is the question. How many items did Robert list that you must have on your personal website? And we have a winner! Boom! I love it! Oh my gosh, there was a lot of answers. Robert, why don't you tell these good folks what the correct answer was?
6.
6 is the correct answer, and our winner today is Charles Cannon. Congratulations, Charles Cannon. You will be getting a personal one-on-one with Robert Wiesman, and he's going to help you with your personal branding. Charles Cannon, if you could write on in and let me know what dealership you're with, I'd love to give you a proper congrats. Hold on, I'm writing your name down right now. We're going to get started with those questions from our audience. Charles Cannon is with Advantage BMW Midtown in Houston, Texas, baby. Congratulations, Charles. And of course, we also want to thank Robert Wiesman for his generosity. And I'd love to find out, Charles.
Congrats, Charles.
I'd love to see what comes of your personal website and your personal branding after you've had that one-on-one with Robert. So please keep in touch. Okay, first question. I love this question. This is from Nikki. She's the one who wrote in and said that it was the best webinar she'd ever sat in on. She was the first one to write in a question. She said, would one of you be willing to look at one of my videos and give me some tips?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nikki. I'll spend as much time with you as you need. You can send me an email, and Elise, I'm sure, is the same way anytime.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, that's so nice of you guys. And let me just tell you, please, there is no reason in the world to mystery shop Elise or Robert to get their stuff. They are willing and able to share what they've learned with all of you. That's why they're here today. This is a free webinar, for Pete's sake. So please don't go behind their backs or just try and get around them. They will give you the information. All you have to do is ask.
No, I know I vent a lot about it, but it really does. It's just, there's... being in this business, you just know that there's a lot of time and a lot of things you got to do, and when because I have IP trackers, so if I find that out, it really just upsets me a little bit.
Yeah,
so
it's a pain in the butt.
Elise, I feel like every week you've caught another person who's trying to get one over on you. It's completely unnecessary.
From Canada, it's I'll email them back too as me, and I'll say, look, just email me and I'll respond to you on my own time. I gotta be committed to the store when I'm here at this.
As a matter of fact,
it was a big deal for me to even do this webinar for a couple hours for a little during the store's time. So I'm happy to do it, but just no mystery shops, please.
Please, yes. As a matter of fact, if you could go to the next slide that has your contact information.
Sure.
Honestly, if you have a question, you want to get their advice on something, these are the best people. I mean, you can't get nicer people, honestly. And Nikki already wrote in, thank you, you guys are great. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Nikki.
All right, so she's very much looking forward. Let's get to our next question from Joe. He says, do you send your video messages through your CRM or through separate email?
I think Robert and I do it a little differently. I have a template with a JPEG that has it's like a banner of me basically, and then it says, play here for your personalized video greeting that Elise has sent you, and then it links out to YouTube. I think Robert uses a software program that embeds it or does it a little bit differently.
I don't like the YouTube thing, and I try to get Elise on this product before too, and you guys send me an email and I'll hook you up with the people. We'll walk around videos, and what it does is the problem with YouTube, in certain videos I will send it to YouTube, like when it's something maybe like depending on what it is, but like the personal greetings and short walk-arounds that are custom for that individual, like that where you're saying their name and it's personal, I would always send it with the through this, because if you link back to YouTube, my only problem with YouTube is then they're exposed to other videos. They'll start getting click happy, clicking all over the place on these other ones. Not to mention they can see other videos that you've sent to other people that are the same way, that makes it lose that them feeling as special as they do when you've taken the time to do this. When they see there's a list of them and you've done it for everybody, that it kind of might lose its wow to them.
Got you. Okay, Joe, great question. We're going to have another question from Joe in a little bit. Somebody wanted to know what CRM you actually use. Is that information you'd be okay
Sure.
sharing?
Sure, yeah. The store here at Sunset Honda, we use we use iMagic Lab. So it's yeah, iMagic Lab is our CRM program that we use, and it's a pretty good tool. We've looked into other ones, but iMagic Lab has been great, and they're actually coming out with an update for, I think it's called Dealer Suite. They're going to update it here pretty soon. So, but yeah, iMagic Lab is what we use here. I'm not sure about Robert.
Robert?
I'm on eLead, which is I like a lot.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much for that. Next question comes to us from Jay Casey. He says, Robert or Elise, have you used video to address customer concerns, such as a service department issue with a client vehicle or back-ordered parts, etc.?
Well, then that's the bald guy, Casey Pendleton, is a good friend of mine. What's up, Case? That's not really my cup of tea, and I don't know if it's, don't want to speak for Elise, but I'm not sure if that is hers or not really my, my concern, my problem, basically, but I can totally, if that's something that, you know, you're responsible for, I 100% think service should definitely be using video, like sending somebody an update, like let's say somebody drops off their car, they're going to work, and you know, they're just there for a standard maintenance or what have you, and then you're videoing and showing them like the filter that's all cluttered with stuff. Instead of calling them saying, hey, your filter needs changed, this needs changed, whatever, you send them a video showcasing that to them, showing that, I think was, you know, would definitely increase your hours or time on the clock back there in service. You know, I think people would be quicker to commit and say yes over the phone without waiting for them to come back in or however it works back there.
Elise?
Yeah, no, I think I've actually been kind of, I thought about that not too long ago, and I was like, man, I'm kind of waiting for like a service writer for someone, you know, for this kind of, for a lot of these same tools to be used in service. I haven't seen it yet, but I think it's definitely something that can be optimized.
That was a great question, Jay Casey. I do appreciate it. Let's move on. Our next question, actually, a few people wrote in about this. Kathleen, for instance, she wrote, how many leads do you personally take when you took leads, and how many did you sell, or what was your delivered to lead percentage? A lot of people want to know how many leads you have. Jay, for instance, wrote, how many prospects can you do in a day? So there is lots of people out there who want to know how many prospects, how many phone calls do you guys handle in a day? Scott Klein, how many phone calls do you average per day? So can you give us a hint? Let's start with Elise.
Sure. So as a lot of you guys probably know, the past, let's see, is it August already? So the past 3 months, the process has changed here a little bit, but for a while, for quite a while, I was working the deals cradle to the grave. I would handle about 100 leads, give or take, maybe about 120, just myself, but I would work them cradle to the grave, and I averaged about 25 units a month. The store now, and that was with 2 other internet people that did the other leads, you know, when I was with appointments and things like that. The process now is I'm kind of a one-person, essentially, BDC, and I'll handle all the leads, make all the phone calls, set all the appointments, turn them to a salesperson when they get here to do the test drive and work them from that point. The past 3 months, we've averaged, when I was doing it myself, I averaged about a 20%, you know, 20 to 25% closing ratio off of what I had. When with this process, now I'm handling about, with this process, we're handling about 300 leads, about 300 internet leads, and we're doing about 60 units, give or take, a month from the internet department from that.
Very good.
Versus before, it was like, okay, so I would take 20 cars, and then the other salespeople would maybe sell 7 cars, 10 cars each. So it's kind of, this is working better for the store. You know, the salespeople are good with it because they're getting a full deal credit, and you know, everybody's getting more opportunity, because it's like when there's an appointment set, it's a good lead, you know, to have an appointment. So And then as far as phone calls, unique calls, it's probably, unique people that I'm calling every day, probably maybe about, 30 people, but then you have to look at that I'm calling them 4 times a day. So I try and do about 100 calls a day.
That's my philosophy is 100 calls and emails, like 100 calls or emails total a day. Try to get at, go out, 100 dials and emails, not combined, but separately about, 100. I commit to that every day. Whether I'm calling old customers up, like that's what I would spend my time doing. I'm not going to, I would never spend my time waiting around on a 20%, show, because I was just a regular, frontline sales guy that would get leads that were funneled, through the dealer, and then also I had my own, way of generating my own leads through the internet for me personally through my websites and video search and things like that. And I would much rather spend the time calling those and checking on previous customers than standing around waiting on a 20% closing ratio fresh up to come through. I was done with that. Yes.
So what was your closing ratio, Robert?
Oh, percentage-wise, I don't know. I can tell you dollars because that's what matters to me. I don't know exactly what percentage that I had.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, well, we have a follow-up question from Kathleen. She said, Elise, are you taking all the leads and doing the first response and call for 300 leads?
So I have 2 days off because I have a little baby girl. So my days off are Sunday and Monday now. So of those 2 days, there's a guy here. He's kind of he actually worked for iMagic Lab, and so he does a lot of CRM training for other people in the store. We have a sister store, an Acura store, a couple hours away, and then he does a lot of the leads on those days too. And then so he kind of helps out too. So the full 300 aren't completely done by me. Otherwise, I would eat, breathe, and sleep here. But I do take 2 days off and spend it with my family. And he covers the leads on those days.
Okay. Jim had a follow-up email. They both agree, 100 calls and 100 emails a day. How do you have time to do that? Do you use email templates?
No.
I do have, okay, so, go ahead.
Oh, we have a difference. Here we go.
Okay.
No, I don't like templates at all.
I have made my own templates, I will say that. They're my own words, they're my own images, they're my own banners, and I'll modify them. But the ones that actually come in the CRM, I don't like. So I actually have a section in our CRM, a little drop down, and it is my own templates for each scenario. Just because typing, that's a huge part of it. It's just so I don't have to type. But they are my own words, and they are personalized with me and with my videos and things like that. But it does save time to, in typing every email every time. So
gotcha.
They're not autoresponders. They are templated, but they're my own words. They're my own templates.
Okay, so Jim's follow-up question was, would you provide some sample templates? Is that something you would do, Elise?
Yeah, if you email me, I will do that.
You are very, very kind, Elise. Thank you.
I would much rather do that than get a mystery shop. So yes, please email me on the Yahoo account.
Wow, I got to say, Jim wrote back, great, and I've never seen that many exclamation points all strung together. That's a lot of exclamation points. Looks like you're going to be getting an email from Jim. Okay, let's get to this question from Joe. He says, what is your ratio or lift of appointments using video versus just a plain old email?
What is my ratio to what?
Lift. So which one, how much more effective is video versus just a plain old email?
It's honestly so hard for me to track that, and I'm trying, I don't spend a lot of time, honestly, doing a lot of these reports, ins and out. I kind of just use the CRM to help me come up with a lot of the closing ratios and things like that. But as far as the emails that have videos and not videos and what the difference is, the fact of the matter is, video is going to help you, just period. And after the video message too, I forgot to mention this earlier, I send a plain text email that confirms that they even got that email, because with spam filters and everything like that, it might get opted out. So I'll send the video email, and then I'll also send a confirmation with just plain text that says, hey, just wanted to make sure you got my last email. But I don't have, to be honest, I don't have the lift. I just know that it's helped me tremendously over the course of a few years.
Robert?
I mean, everything I do, every initial follow-up was with email my emails consisted of a video, so, I mean, I knew nothing other. I mean, I stopped sending, my first couple emails were mostly all video. With that tool, the walk-around videos tool, there, you'll stop writing emails. You will, because it's so easy, and it takes 2 minutes, and it's sent right to them with a cool custom template. It's great, and it's, I even send a lot of my personal emails like that to people sometimes, because I hate I'm not a big fan of typing.
Well, I totally understand. Just so you know, we are way over time, but we have like at least a handful of more great questions I want to get to, and then we'll button up the show. So we have so many people that are still hanging on your every word, so we are going to keep going, okay, Elise and Robert?
What time is it right now?
It's 1:30.
1:30.
Okay.
We got a boogie.
We got a boogie. Okay, so
All right.
let's try and keep our answers quick. Here we go. Jeremy wrote in, most OEMs time first response by email. When do you send the first email to stop the clock?
I mean, I'll make that phone call first, obviously, but yeah. You want to do it within like no more than 5 minutes.
You can stop the clock without sending an email. Can't you just go in and stop the clock? Right?
Oh no, I don't. Well, I don't have that. No, I don't have like a little timer or anything. But just
you don't have the clock for when the leads come in. I know what you're saying, Jeremy, but I mean, I know on our end, like I can stop it and then without any follow-up. If let's say I was on the phone with somebody else and I see one on there, like I can stop it and then send it, because it's got an auto-responder automatically from the CRM. But then I'm pretty sure I know on ours I can stop it and then go back to it once I'm finishing up whatever I'm doing before. But I mean, the sooner the better. I mean, your connection ratio, the faster that you call them back with your initial phone call, within like the first 15 minutes, the connection rate percentage is at its highest.
Jeremy wrote back, he said, no, my OEM times me both on VW and Toyota, and they time it, and they send it to a competing dealer, I guess if you don't do it quick enough. Jeez Louise, that's tough. And then Mark wrote in, on Chrysler you can stop the clock by clicking the outgoing phone call. So it looks like all the OEMs do something a little different, and certainly, of course, different CRMs are going to handle it differently as well.
Yeah, it could be from per OEM as well.
Right. Okay, great question, Jeremy. Thank you. Curtis says only if their CRM is tied into the OEM. Okay, thank you. All right. Let's go on to this next question. James said he loved Elise's postcard idea. What's the best way to get an address if the lead doesn't have one so that you can send a postcard?
White Pages. Whitepages.com.
Whitepages.com. James, you heard it here first. Okay, we're just going to keep going through these real fast. Jay had a question. How do you overcome telephone tag when you are making your calls and people are calling you back or are on the phone, and you know how that goes?
Well, you just got to prioritize, If you're on the phone, that happens all the time with me. I'm leaving a voicemail about great news, and then I see my other line ringing, coming through. It goes to voicemail. I'll call them back right away. Usually you can snag them. I don't really run into call you back, call me back, because if they call me back, that's a priority. I'm going to call that customer back before I go back into, handling a lead that's maybe three days old that I've been, you got to prioritize. If a customer calls you back, you're on the other line, then call them back right away. Usually you can get them back on the phone,
And, I mean, do you also kind of say something like, I noticed that we keep missing each other. What's a great time to call you? And let's make it that time. I'll call you. Can you do that?
I mean, if he calls me, then I'm going to call him back within, whenever I'm done with what I was doing, which usually isn't more than a couple minutes, and usually I can get him. I really don't run into the phone tag issue a lot. especially with texting and everything, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the same way. And on my when I have a like sending out an email, I'll ask them, what's a better time? Is the morning, afternoon, or the evening the best time to reach you by phone? And doing that just for some engagement, hoping they'll engage back. If I can't reach them on the phone and then that email, hey, is the afternoon or later on in the evening the best time for us to schedule a phone consultation?
Perfect.
And then maybe leave it at that. Hopefully that they'll respond back.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for those answers. Jay, I hope that helped you out. Scott wrote in. He wanted to know what's the name of the online pricing tool that you use.
So it's a vet. I mean, it's on the dealer end of things, but and I think I can share this, but it's called V-Auto that we use. There's a few of them. We call it Vato.
Yeah, there's tons of different ones. It's what your desk managers and appraisalists, they're using it, and they might not, at least you might not even really use that right. You're just using that as kind of a word track to
no, but we do use it. But yeah, I mean I use it as a word track too. So yeah.
Okay, great. Let's get to this question. Kelly has a couple of questions just for Elise. She says, now that Elise is not selling but running the internet department, how does that affect your brand, and how do you handle building the relationship and handing it off?
I still try, so I'll hand it off, and then I will I'll go out and still say hi to that customer. When they buy a car, I'll thank them, and then if I can, if I'm not too busy, I'll still try and, I'm not going to do the full delivery, but I'll do like the old trick, put a $2 bill in their gas tank with a handwritten note from me afterwards. So, and I still get emails, like even though I didn't help them with the test drive and this and that, they still remember, like I got a dealer rate review where I, handed off the customer essentially, but they essentially out of the whole process, they still remembered me out of it. So I try and still keep that connection with the customer. But I will say I do miss, that part of it to a certain extent, working from cradle to the grave. It has been a little bit of a change, but I still try and, after I flip them, I don't want that to just be it. I still try and when the customer's in the store, when they're back from their test drive, I'll still go out and say hi. I'll monitor who's in the store and, still try and connect with them when they're here.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Great question, Kelly. Thank you for that. I have an awesome question from Mike. He says, as the sales manager, what can I do to support my team more in their branding? I've done okay branding myself, but I'm not actually selling, so I need to get my team up to speed on their own brands. And this comes from Mike, the car guy. Robert, I know you got something interesting to say to Mike.
Well, I've never had a manager that actually wanted to help with something like that, so that's
Already Mike gets big points for that.
Yeah, definitely. Basically, I mean, these guys, all of us, anybody in the sales position, I mean, you just got to really stop being a salesperson, quit your job as a salesperson today, and start being a business. You are running your own company. So start, every day be an entrepreneur, not a salesperson. So and go in with that mentality, and you can quickly separate the professionals from the wannabes like that, and like you're going to see that the certain people that unfortunately that just aren't going to be responsive to what you're doing, but you can just start them in the direction of and show them things, the stuff like what Elise and I have done, and please, I'm willing to come on a phone or a Skype with anybody there and with you direct, Mike, and I'd love to help you out with that.
That is so nice of you. Boy, all of a sudden people are like, hey, I'm going to give you a call, Robert. Okay, so.
Yep. Everybody email me. How many people? I want a few hundred emails in my inbox, and I will respond to all of them and do what I can for you. No doubt.
You go. There you go. That's why we have his email up there. Okay. Personal response to Jim. Yes, you did miss it. It was actually one of the first things we talked about during this webinar. But don't worry, we recorded this webinar, and that link is going to be sent to you in just a little bit. So don't worry about that. And next question comes to us from Prince. He says, how do you guys keep the success going without sacrificing time away from your families? Elise?
Who said?
Prince.
No, I know.
No.
Yeah, I connect with Prince. If it's the same Prince that at Stokes Honda, I believe. I make sure that I get my 2 days off. And I'll handle the things that I need to handle. With email and everything on those 2 days off. But being a new mom, I got to have those 2 days off to spend with her. It's important to me. So. Yeah,
are you still working daytimes only, or they have you work?
I work about 8:30 to 6 every day, or not every day, Tuesday through Saturday. So.
Hey, that's not bad.
Yeah. So our store, we're a pretty conservative store. The store closes at 7, so we're not one of those dealers that stays open till 10 o'clock at night. But so that's kind of my shift, and it just refreshes me too. Those 2 days I want to spend with my family. I want to watch my little daughter grow up and take her to the park and things like that. So those things are important to me. If I didn't have those 2 days, then you probably wouldn't want to work with me.
I love that you have the 2 days together and they're not like a Monday and a Thursday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Robert, what do you do?
Who says I do?
Well, there you go.
I'm a single dad too of 7 and 5-year-old boys, and that's one I'm still trying to figure out, Prince, man. I know you got a couple kids too, and I see that, and you seem to be doing a pretty good job at it. But man, I actually could probably take some pointers from you. And it's tough, and that's a tough subject. It really is.
It is. And just so you both know, Elise and Robert, a lot of people have written in saying that they're going to contact you, so don't be surprised, especially since Robert threw down the gauntlet. Okay. Last question. I know we finally made it there. From Curtis. And Curtis, I heart you for asking this. Can we schedule a follow-up webinar with these two, please? Elise?
Yeah, let's do it. But I want to get what's the number? 490.
426 is the number to be.
Yeah. All right.
Well, we got Tracy
I'll
Myers.
only do it if people can share. Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, you two, brilliant. Just fabulous. I wish I could reach through the VoIP and kiss you both. What an amazing, amazing webinar. And I know our audience really, really enjoyed it. And audience, if you liked what you heard and loved what you saw, listen, we're going to be sending out a survey as soon as I close this webinar. I need you to give me some awesome feedback for these two so we can pack another webinar with another amazing audience and some more automotive awesomeness from Elise and Robert. So please will you do that for me. Also, I want to let you know this webinar was recorded, and we're going to be posting it on dealeron.com/webinar. And all you have to do is click on demand webinar, and you'll be able to see this. And that link is going to be emailed out to you in about 3 or 4 hours as well. So look for an email from me, Eliana@dealeron.com. Elise, Robert, if you'd like to say goodbye to the audience, now's your chance.
Thank you, guys.
Goodbye, audience.
Goodbye.
Thank you, everybody.
No, it was. I appreciate you having me and Robert here. It was great to be on again, and I'm happy to do stuff like this. I really enjoyed it. So thank you, and goodbye to everybody out there in the cyber
Thanks,
world.
everybody. Good luck. I'll be looking for some contact. I'll be looking to hear from some people, and just go out there and just don't settle, man, and just keep going. Don't worry about balance and all that stuff right now. Just put it all together.
You guys are getting virtual thank yous and applause and awesomeness and all kinds of stuff. So you'll see it in the survey that I send you afterwards. I also want to let the audience know that Dealeron's going to be at the upcoming AutoCon convention September 4th, 5th, and 6th at the Aria Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, baby. We're going to be at booth 304. Stop by and say hi. I'm going to be there. I love talking to you. I'd love to, if you stop by, who knows? I might make a video with you, and you can tell people how awesome you think our webinars are. Right? Because I'm now the webinar goddess, right? So for more information or to buy tickets, go to autocon2013.com. And while you're there, you got to check out the speaking session from the CEO of Dealer On, Ali Amirazvani. He's going to be talking about advanced SEO, and he is an awesome speaker. Great presentation. I've seen it before, and it's amazing. Standing room only when he talks, so you definitely don't want to miss that. And hey, invitations are going to be going out tomorrow for our next webinar, How to Target and Convert More Online Car Shoppers. Each month, countless dealerships nationwide waste thousands of dollars on ineffective marketing efforts. Are you one of them? Well, it's important that your dealership focus on targeting and converting as many online car shoppers as possible. A strong, comprehensive digital marketing strategy is essential to generate online awareness by effectively connecting to shoppers during different stages of the purchasing cycle. John Fitzpatrick knows the obstacles that you face and is here to give you the keys to maximize your marketing to increase sales. This exciting one-hour webinar is going to cover how to increase your marketing ROI by tailoring a highly targeted approach, using big data provides and use it for increased sales and big profits, how to prepare for trends in advance, how to decrease your PPC budget with increasing conversions and reducing cost per click, and how to utilize direct and email marketing to target trends and in-market consumers. If you're ready to stop wasting your money and start targeting and converting more online car shoppers, well then this is a webinar you just can't afford to miss. It's going to be another fabulous presentation by your friends at Dealer On. And don't forget, our weekly webinars are held every Thursday, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And we have some great webinar subjects and presenters planned for this year. But if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding these webinars and our topics, then hey, feel free to contact me directly. My name is Eliana Raggio. I love hearing from you. Email me at eliana@dealeron.com or track me down online. I'm everywhere, Twitter, Facebook, Google+, you name it, and I'm on all the automotive social networks. Thank you all so very much for spending this time with us today, and I hope to see you all on a future webinar in our continuing education series. Have a great day.